There was a sense of being in a village mentality. There were villages like Balnafine, Craiga and Ballahackamore, etc., Short Strand. And the dividing line in our mind, physically as well, was the River Lagan, because it divided East Belfast from central Belfast, which is presumably why people in East Belfast still talk about going over the town. You don't go into town, or you don't go across the town, you go over the town. East Belfast is a bit like a spider's web, with the main arterial routes coming out from the city centre. You have the Newtonards Road, the Mount Pottinger Road, you have Castlereagh Road, onto the Craiga Road, and at points along each of these roads, little communities have sprung up, little villages within a village, if you like.
You were born in religion, but not with religion. For example, in Hindford Street, there was Protestant and Catholic living together. And it was only brought home to us that there was a difference by people outside the area. There was no tribalism. You could be friends with absolutely anybody. You played with absolutely anybody. And that's the way that I was brought up anyway.
Take me back. Take me way, way, way back. On Hindford Street, where you could feel the silence at 11:30 on long summer nights, as the wireless played Radio Luxembourg and the voices whispered across Beachy River. In the quietness as we sank into restful slumber in the silence, and carried on dreaming in God. And walks up Cherry Valley from North Road Bridge railway line on sunny summer afternoons, picking apples from the side of the tracks that spilled over from the gardens of the houses on Cyprus Avenue, watching the moth catcher work the floodlights in the evenings, and meeting down by the pylons, playing round Mrs. Kelly's lamp, going out to Hollywood on the bus and walking from the end of the lines to the seaside, stopping at Fusco's for ice cream in the days before rock and roll.
Packed into this small area, there were different kinds of housing, different worlds.
Hindford Street, the Better Parade, Orangefield, St. Donald's Church, Sunday Six Bells.
My abiding memory of the kitchen houses was the little semicircle that the women used to scrub at the front door, and it was a matter of immense pride that the area in front of your front door was sparkling clean. There were parlour houses too, which were probably about the same size, 2 bedrooms. Then you'd have the semi-detached houses, which would be bigger, with the 3 bedrooms. Nice little garden at front, and they would have a drawing room. And further up the road, you would have the big houses with the big gardens round them, secluded and detached, represented to us a way of life that we didn't really know. We didn't know who lived in these houses. It was rumoured that was a millionaire lived in one, and there could well have been, because this way of life and this way of living was so far removed from our way of life that we'd no means of knowing who these people were or what they did for a living. We never saw them. We never did find out.
Well, I'm caught one more time up on Cyprus Avenue. I'm caught one more time up on Cyprus Avenue. And I'm conquered in a car seat. Not a thing that I can do. I may go crazy before that mansion on the hill.
I was 7 or 8 years old probably when I first saw Cyprus Avenue, and there was a sort of magic about the trees, the big wide street, the sense of enclosure, the colours. Cyprus Avenue has a lovely mix of trees. It has the conifers there, so you're getting that green effect all the year round. It never goes bare. But it also has the wonderful deciduous trees, so that you're getting that feeling of springtime and you're getting the fabulous autumn colours. And therefore it has a seasonal effect to it as well by the choice of trees. There's a fascinating map, and it tells you all of the 85 trees that are in the avenue. It gives you the sizes, it gives you the types of trees. You've got Corsican pine, beech, lime trees, sycamore trees, and you've got this wonderful collection in the middle of the town. The trees were actually put in before the houses were built. What a wonderful idea. The fascinating thing for me about Belfast, and that includes East Belfast, is that it really is a collection of villages. And Cyprus Avenue is the kind of place between the villages. That's the green space between the little commercial areas. We're essentially that green lung in Cyprus Avenue.
Every time I try to speak, my inside shakes, that's like a leaf on a tree.
After the war, the Labour government had a bold vision. In Northern Ireland, the welfare state meant better housing, healthcare and education. For East Belfast, it meant new schools. One of them was Orangefield Boys.
There were great opportunities, and a lot of people in the working class area that I came from thought it was a tremendous opportunity for their children, especially to get a chance which they never had, because they'd lived through the bad times in the 20s and the 30s, and then the war, of course, as well. It was difficult for a young teacher starting out because you weren't very much older than some of the fellas you were teaching. Some of them were 15 and you were 21 or 22.
Former teachers and pupils remember the school fondly.
A colleague in the early 60s said that he didn't like to be off school in case he missed something interesting. I think that conveys to us all what an interesting place it was to work in.
When I was a young boy back in Orangefield, used to look out my classroom window and dream, and go home and listen to Ray say, I believed in my soul after school. Ah, that love that was within me, even though it carried me through, it lifted me up, it filled me. Meditation, contemplation too. Got to go back. We got to go back.
Orangefield was a special place, thanks to its first headmaster. He was an idealist and he picked his staff with great care. John Malone.
He's been the greatest influence that I can think of on so many boys. You just couldn't overestimate the feeling, the tenderness, the care that this man must have had for his pupils. He was just an incredible man.
The school was
terrific in a way that there was so much going on. And even after school, they had a newspaper, which I became a reporter for. And I had to go around all the classes and interview people. What are you doing this week, and so on and so on, and put it in the newspaper.
Arts were given as prominent a place as anything else in the school. For example, we had a very flourishing drama club, and they put on plays like Molière's The Imaginary Invalid and things like that to a very, very high standard of performance. A lot of hard work was put in. Parents came at nights to make the costumes.
What I liked about the school was that there was lots of opportunities, and there was lots of clubs in the school. After school hours, there was weightlifting, there was judo, there was archery, there was all these different things.
The four houses when Orangefield started were Davison House, Musgrave House, Bryson House and Hughes, and these were all affiliated to industry. Davison was the Sirocco Works, Musgrave was Musgrave Engineering, Hughes Tool, and Bryson were the carpet making people.
Each house coming up to Christmas had a house party, and some boys formed themselves into skiffle groups. And in fact, some of the teachers formed a skiffle group as well to appear at some of the house parties.
Oh, skiffle burst on the scene. You could overstate it, but I mean, it was like discovering a new language, really, because the only singers we had heard about were from our parents, and they were always on about Bing Crosby and Frank Sinatra and Gracie Fields and things like that, and suddenly it was something that we could latch onto and identify with. Lonnie Donegan was the only begetter as far as we were concerned.
I heard this song on the radio one day, and it was Lonnie Donegan, and he was singing something like Rock Island Line or something, and I just went, what is this? It was like, I never heard nothing like it before in my life. And it was so exciting and sexy and loose. And the guitar playing on it was incredible as well. And Lonnie Donegan's voice, I think, is one of the greatest singers that ever lived.
So I fooled you, I got pig iron, I got pig iron, I got pig iron. He said, tell you where I'm going, boy. Where you going, boy? He's going to tell her. I'm going down to Rock Island Line, it's a mighty good road, yes indeedy. Well, the Rock Island Line, it's a mighty good road. Well, the Rock Island Line is the road to ride. Yeah, the Rock Island Line is a mighty good road. And if you want to ride it, gotta ride it like to find it. Get your ticket at the station on the Rock Island Line. Hallelujah, I'm safe from sin. If the Lord's coming, gonna see me again.
You've got to remember now, there was no Radio 1 in those days, so we got most of our stuff through Luxembourg. A bit iffy reception, and it used to fade away and things like that. And suddenly we heard this guy singing these songs and making this sound.
A, B, C, W, X, Y, Z. Cat's on the cover, but he don't see me.
Every street had his own skiffle group. Everybody started making music, whether they played a washboard or whether they played a T-chest bass or whether they could actually play a guitar. They could make their own music. You probably stole your mother's brush shaft and a bit of string, and you had an instrument there. Or you stole her washing board, you know, her washboard, and the glass ones were infinitely better than the tin ones. You got a better rap out of that, so you did.
Skiffle didn't last all that long.